I've talked about how the internet was changing patterns of learning in schools. Mobile communication is having an impact almost as great as the internet. In fact, it's formed a partnership with the internet. What are people using mobile communication for? Well, at first, it was a cell phone. So you had the convenience of carrying your telephone with you instead of only making telephone calls when you're in your home or at your office. Now you had the capacity to make a telephone call anywhere and be reached anywhere. So one of the impacts of the cell phone was a complete loss of privacy because you could be tracked down no matter where you were. The only thing you could do is you could turn off your cell phone, but then you had to answer to the people that were trying to reach you, why did you turn off your cell phone? So the cell phone implies a loss of privacy. But on the positive side, in addition to the convenience of being able to enter into telephone communication anywhere, anytime, you're able to basically now with the new cell phones like the BlackBerry or the iPhone, you're able to carry your computer with you. You can access the internet from wherever you are. So I must confess that I am not a carrier of a cell phone or an iPhone or a BlackBerry. I'm just an old-fashioned guy. Perhaps I guard my privacy more than most people of today's generation. But I do carry around my notebook. In fact, this morning when I was picked up by Carlos Scolari, and I'm carrying my computer with me, he says, you don't need your computer today. We're going for lunch, then we'll have this interview. But I said, no, I have to carry my notebook with me. So he carries an iPhone, because he's a more modern guy than I am. I've sort of made a little step into mobile communication. I carry my notebook with me, which has a Wi-Fi capacity. And so I can access the internet, but I don't have it in a nice little handy form like he has. The telephone part of the mobile communication is not as important to me. And I don't think the real revolution of mobile communication is the telephone part, but it's the access to the internet. And so to me, the revolution is ubiquitous computing. What mobile communication does is it turns every user, it gives them ubiquitous computing. Now ubiquitous computing has a couple of meanings. So the original meaning was that wherever you went, there would be some form of computing. So you turn on your car, there's a computer inside your car. You go to your refrigerator, there's a computer inside your refrigerator. So it meant computing everywhere. But with mobile communication, it means that wherever you are, whatever time it is, you have access to computing, to the internet, to the world. I'm told that some people go to bed with their iPhone and their BlackBerry because they don't want to miss any breaking news or any communication. There's a joke about the BlackBerry that some people are called, it's called the crackberry because it's as addictive as crack cocaine. The BlackBerry addict is constantly checking their email to see what's the latest information that's coming in. I don't carry a BlackBerry, I'm not a crackberry, but I must confess that with my computer, which is my mobile computing device, a little old-fashioned, but still does the job for me, that I'm checking my email. In fact, in this studio, which has Wi-Fi, before I sat down to have this conversation, what did I do? I checked my email. So, the world is changing very rapidly because of mobile communication. Everybody is in touch with everybody else. And as Marshall McLuhan said, the globe is shrinking into a global village. In the village, you were in communication with everybody in your village. Maybe not every instant of the day, but people were no more than 200-300 meters away, so you could easily contact somebody if you had to. And village life is now being repeated in large urban centers and in people in remote areas because of their mobile communication. Let's talk about the mobile communication, mobile devices, as extensions of our body. I had the privilege of working with Marshall McLuhan, and one of the great insights that he had was that our tools are extensions of our body. Earlier I spoke about McLuhan's, whether he had a methodology or not, and one of the key parts of his methodology was that our tools are extensions of our body. So the hammer is an extension of the fist. The fist, okay, can only do so much damage. But now if I take a rock and I attach a handle to it, I have extended my fist into a hammer. He talked about the wheel. I'm on a wheel here, this chair. He talked about the wheel as being an extension of the foot because it promotes our moving from one place to another. Then he talked about media as being extensions of our psyche. And that's certainly the case with the computer. The computer has become an extension of my mind. I always carry my notebook with me, except when I'm swimming. And the reason I do that is that although I have a very good memory and I can recall a great deal of information, I can't recall everything. But with the computer close by, here's an extension of my memory. I whip open my notebook. I type a few characters into my notebook using the search engine in my computer, and bingo, I can recall things, details of things, as long as I have a key word to access the things that I'm trying to find. So my notebook is an extension of my mind, just as my car is an extension of my body and my ability to travel from one place to another. In my book that deals with the origin of language, I talk about the extended mind. I talk about the fact that the language extended the brain into a mind. Because it, with language, the brain can do so much more than it can do without language. Unfortunately, there have been some children that were isolated from society, who never were able to learn language. You can only learn a language when you're less than 5-6 years of age. After that, it becomes very difficult to learn a language. And these children, although they had fully functional brains, were quite limited in what they could do because they didn't have language. So language is a tool that extends our brain into a mind. The notion of extended mind was independently developed by a British philosopher named Andy Clark. He wrote a paper with David Chalmers called The Extended Mind. And he made the claim that things like pencil and paper become an extension of our mind. You can do certain mathematical operations in your head. 9 times 3 is 27, no problem. But if you want to do a complicated mathematical calculation and you don't have pencil and paper, you're stuck. And so Clark claims that pencil and paper became an extension of our mind. And I'm very sympathetic to his point of view. And it's certainly the case that our computers and the internet have become extensions of our mind.